Questions asked, answers avoided, insight provided. Look within yourself, get a new perspective. Look within yourself, within yourself. Introspect with Nicole, WCVG 1320, Cincinnati's Voice of Gospel.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Introspect with Nicole. I am Dr. Kisha Willis, your gracious host for the day. Miss Nicole will be back in effect next week. Just a little food for thought. On the radio, popular songs declare the thrills of casual sex. On the internet, pop-up windows beckon web surfers to erotic destinations. The fashion world taunts midriff-bearing designs while primetime TV rolls out one sexual innuendo after another. Today's adolescents must navigate this cultural morass just at a time when hormonal surges and emergent feelings are making life confusing enough. But what happens when faith gets thrown into the mix? How does being a Christian affect a teenager's perceptions and responses in this sex-drenched society? Everyone, our topic for the day is the power of abstinence. Why are some Christian teens abstinent while others are not? In the studio today, we have some special guests as panelists, and I would like to just introduce them. First, we have Mr. Chris Willis, who is a local educator and former mental health specialist. He's here to give us some insight into what our Christian teens may be facing within the community that is influencing their sexual decision-making. Next, we have Mr. Joshua Denson, an 18-year-old Christian male who is here to share his story of sexual abstinence. We also have Miss Nicole-The, a 15-year-old teen Christian who proudly professed sexually being abstinent. And finally, we have Mr. Stephen Say, a 20-year-old who engaged in sexual intercourse as a teen and want to help others learn from his mistake. Now, before we begin our detailed discussion and begin to dissect this particular topic, I want to give just a few statistics. According to the Center for Disease Control, the YRBS 2011 report, 47.4% of 9 to 12 graders have had sexual intercourse. 44.3% are white, 48.6% Hispanic, and a whopping 60% are black students. The CDC also tells us that in 2011, a total of 329,797 babies were born to girls aged 15 to 19 years of age. Wow, what a huge statistic. Furthermore, the CDC informs that on average, 40,000 to 80,000 new cases of HIV are reported each year in the U.S. It is estimated that half of all new infections are among people younger than 25. Compared to the general population, adolescents have one of the fastest increasing rates of HIV infection. An average of 2 young people are infected with HIV every hour of the day. Among reported AIDS cases is adolescents age 13 through 19. 28% occur in Caucasian, 20% in Hispanic, and 50%, y'all, 50% in our African American community. Research indicates that each day, 8,000 teenagers in the United States will become infected with an STD, with more than 3 million teens becoming infected this year alone. One last statistic, a recent Yale and Columbia University study suggests that teens who pledge virginity until marriage, and that's most of our Christian teens, a lot of them pledge virginity until marriage, they're just as likely to have an STD as their other peers. Now, these are some phenomenal statistics, and I want to hear what you all have to say out there about these statistics. Please give us a call at 859-655-4343. That number again is 859-655-4343. But now I want to open up some questions to our panel. So after hearing these statistics and understanding what's going on in our community with our Christian teens, why do you think premarital sex has become such a big problem?
I think it has become a problem growing up as peer pressure. I would say that's one of the main factors. Who you hang around.
Yeah.
You know, being athletic, having a gift that girls draw attention to.
Mm-hmm. So because you have a gift of athleticism, then girls are drawn to you and they want to have sex with you? I mean, what do you mean?
Pretty much. For an example, football players, basketball players, track stars.
Okay.
You know, when they see certain buffness of the body, you know, as far as you being a great athlete, when they see the potential that you can go somewhere, they might want to say, hey, here's my number, call me sometime, and it can lead to other things.
So do you think that it's something that happens with a lot of Christian teens, or is it just teens in general? Is it specific to Christian teens? I mean, what?
Teens in general,
okay,
I would say.
Okay.
Teens in general.
Are Christian teens, do they tend to become more tempted than other teens maybe? When just because they're an athlete and a girl comes up to them and say, hey, you know, you're cute. I think you're fine. I want to get with you. Are the teen males more susceptible to falling for that? Is that what you're saying?
I'll chime in. I believe that it's not so much about being a Christian teen or not being a Christian teen.
Okay.
I think that in certain societies and certain neighborhoods or communities, I should say, that some kids are more prone to that type of behavior. You know, if you grew up in a certain environment, a certain way, if your parents brought you up a certain way, it's seen as okay. You know, you might see mom or dad has a girlfriend or a boyfriend that lives together, not a husband and a wife.
Okay.
So they open it up to it being okay. I think that Christian teens, the so-called Christian teens, that I'm a Christian, I'm a saint, I'm saved. I think that they are exposed to it because, or it's harder for them because they do have to show this certain image, because I am in the church and I can't condone in these type of things because the church is going to look at me a certain way. But yet on the flip side, I still want to hang out with my friends and I still want to be cool. How do I balance that? How am I going to still be cool with my friends and hang out with them, the ones that are not in church or not saved, but then again, not make my parents look bad or not look like a fool in the church? And I think that's something that they struggle with.
Oh, okay. So there's a struggle that goes on for the Christian teen. Like it's different for them. Like if your parents are not in church, then it's no big deal if you're engaged in sexual intercourse. Is that what you're saying?
And yeah, that's what I would say. And I would say, you know, we can, you know, our panel here, we have, you know, young people that parents are in church full time. They're not part-time church members, you know, they're full-time there all the time. So what type of things they might have to endure even now growing up, and even with you, Stephen, when you was in high school, and what type of things did you have to endure being a child that parents are saved, parents are in church, and they're telling you it's wrong to have sex before marriage, it's wrong, but yet you still feel that, well, I'm gonna do that anyways.
Right. So, and I don't know, Stephen, if you might want to say something about that, but I hear you all saying that maybe, you know, if even if you're a Christian, if you have a parent who is not dedicated, I would say maybe a fundamentalist in terms of a Christian, if they're not very into church, then it may not be a big deal to engage in sexual intercourse. But because the parents are a part of the church and they're very strictly going by the rituals of the church, then those are the kids, or those are the teens that tend to struggle with society and being connected and not engaging.
Yeah, I would say.
Okay.
Well, you know, growing up, most people would say that Christians, teens are the worst when it comes to sexual activity.
Okay.
Because
the worst?
well, yeah. And the reason for that is because I guess that our parents, they say that they are really strict.
Okay.
So they don't trust us.
So is that the problem? The parents are strict. That's why sex is a problem within the teen Christian community?
I think it is because most people, well, most parents would say to their children, you can't go here, you can't do this, you can't go to sleepovers, you can't hang out with this certain guy because he's not in church. And the child, they get tired of hearing that. So when that opportunity opens up, that's when they take the opportunity because it's there.
Interesting. So it's almost like a rebellion thing.
Yeah.
Would others agree that maybe it's a rebellion from your parents, your Christian parents?
Yeah, I feel that too. And I also feel that, like, in order to balance that, you shouldn't have the parents should trust what they put into their children, but of course not be naive. Some places, it's not right for you to go. Some things it's not right for you to do. But
Absolutely.
I think that parents should trust that they put in what God's morals and everything, and trust, like, don't pressure your kids, don't be on their back all the time, because it's going to end up driving them. When you told you can't do something, most of the time you want to do it more. But if you trust, like, oh, well, I'm putting the right morals and values in my kid, then trust them to do that. They're going to do what they're going to do anyway.
So our teens may be feeling pressured to do the right thing, and so they decide to go in the opposite direction.
Yeah, a lot of times.
That's interesting. Our engineer here just sent us a note over, and this is really good, and I want to hear what you all think about this. Call us at 859-655-4343. He said that Christian parents often hide sex from their kids. They don't want to talk about it. They pretend like it's not even in existence. Like the kids aren't thinking about it. Like their kids don't see it on television, or they don't hear about it on the radio. Interesting. So call us. Tell us what you think about that. 859-655-4343. So is it often hidden? Would you all agree?
I agree.
Huh.
For an example, all I was told was don't do it.
So it's like, don't do what, right?
Exactly. That's all I was told. Don't do it.
Yeah.
No detail.
No
just
details.
Don't do it.
So just stay away from sex.
Yeah, I was curious. You know, when it happened, I wanted to wait until I got married so bad that I used to brag about being a virgin. You know, to me, I think I did pretty good waiting until I was 18.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm 20 now. Okay. So, you know, it is I do regret it, but at the same time, it's hard, but you gotta move on from it. It is what it is.
It's almost like wanting to know the mystery of sex, because I didn't learn enough about it. I wasn't taught enough about it.
I guess learn from your mistakes. I guess since I wanted to go ahead and do it, it was just like, all right, you say don't do it. So what's going to happen if I don't do it, or what's going to happen if I do it?
Wow, yeah. So we're talking about the power of sex. We're talking about the power of abstinence. And we're going to go into a commercial break. We're talking about what's going on, why are teens having premarital sex, Christian teens. Call us at 859-655-4343.
Introspect with Nicole thanks WCVG AM 1320 for allowing us to bring this show to you. Hey, this is Nicole, and thanks for listening. Listen, I want to hear from you, so come visit me at www.introspectnicole.com. And be sure to tune in every Saturday at 1:30 right here on WCVG AM 1320, Cincinnati's voice of gospel.
We are back with Introspect with Nicole. I'm Dr. Kisha Willis, in for Miss Nicole, who will be returning on next week. We're talking about what happens when some teens have premarital sex. Christian teens have premarital sex and some do not. Why is that? Okay, before we went to break, we were talking to our panel about what's going on within our community that is causing some of our Christian teens to engage in sex. We were having a very interesting conversation about parents and maybe things that they might not be doing so right that could be causing some of our teens to go into the direction of premarital sex? One of our panelists wanted to chime in about that.
I think most parents should not hide sex from their children. I think they should expose that to them, talk to them about it. I feel like most teens are going to experience that, and I think they should at least experience the talking part through their parents.
Okay.
So they can know what they should do, how they should do it, or if it's right or wrong. Like, I don't think that hiding it and just like skipping over parts with their kids is not appropriate.
So, in your personal opinion, when parents hide it, or when these Christian parents hide it or skip over it, is that what causes their child to go over the edge and say, forget it, I'm just going to do it?
Most teens, yes.
Okay. So what's been different about you, Ms. Nikkei? Because I know you're one of our teens that have decided to wait. So why has it not pushed you over the edge?
Because I feel I have too much respect for my body to expose that right now. And I feel like it's not the right time for me to do it. And if I was to actually experience or do it now, I would think that I would regret it, because I know that my parents have taught me way better and to not do it.
So it has something to do with, just a personal feeling of,
yes,
I'm too good for this. Maybe I don't want to expose myself in this way. But then there's also that part of you to say, well, my parents will be disappointed.
Yeah, and I don't even want to go through that with my parents. I don't want to have to sit down and tell them, I had sex at the age of 15, at the age of 16, just to see them react to it. I do not want to experience that at all.
So let me throw that question out there. Do you think that for Christian teens, their parents' response to some type of premarital sex is going to be a quote-unquote worse response than what a teen whose parents don't fundamentally practice Christianity? I mean, what would you all say about that?
I believe that a Christian teen's parent will react differently than parents that don't really go to church.
Okay.
Because of course, in church you talk about not having sex before you're married or whatever.
Yeah.
So, I think that a Christian's parents expect you not to do it.
Yeah.
Because you're growing up in the church, you're hearing about it, and you know it's wrong. Opposed to a parent that grows up in the hood or whatever. So most of those kids are kind of exposed to it already. So
yeah, you got two different. The way I look at it is the Christian parent is, why did you do it? You on punishment or you getting whooped?
Okay.
Then you got the parent that's in the world. Good job, son. That's the way I look at it.
It's not frowned upon. You kind of get a thumbs up for it.
Yeah. Because I remember when I lost it, when me and my dad had the conversation about it. One thing she said was, "What you want me to say? Congratulations."
Wow. Yeah.
And I said no, but I'd expected him to handle it in a different way than he did, because of the fact that I was 18. I'm not saying I was a grown man, but the fact that I am of age to, take care of my own responsibilities, own up for what I did. I know I was wrong. And when I did, when he did find out, I cried because of the fact that I really wanted the way, and I felt like I hurt my father and that I let him down. Because I grew up better, but, at the time, it was just the pressure. And it was the opportunity. It was there.
Pressure. So what type of pressures? I think that's something that our callers need to hear about. You speaking as a 20-year-old, just outside of your teens. So for some, they would still consider you a part of the adolescent years. You just being outside of your teen years, you say there were some pressures. Let's talk about what those pressures look like, because you grew up in the church. Your parents are fundamentalists. They're always there. They're very dedicated to the church. What was the pressures that you went through?
The pressure came from my friends that wasn't virgins.
Oh, okay.
And they would tell me, Steve, it feel good. They would tell me so many things, like, and I'd be like, dude, I just want to wait. Like, and this is what I would tell them. I said, you know how many girls were attracted to me saying that I was a virgin because I wanted to wait? They respected that.
Wow. They respected a male
They respected
being a virgin.
that. Yes.
Interesting.
And
you don't always hear those kind of things.
Yeah, and, you know, I was proud of it. You know, I got made fun of, and I got respected for it at the same time. I got more respect than I did get made fun of because of the fact that I wanted to wait. But the pressure was just like, for an example, the girl.
The girl that you were with.
The girl I
at
was
the
with.
time.
You know, she was my girlfriend.
Yeah.
I don't believe in having sex with friends. She was my girlfriend. So, you know, I just thought that she was very beautiful. And at the time, you know, pressure came from my boys. They was like, Steve, is you going to hit that? And I'd be like, dude, I want to wait. I even told her I wanted to wait. But the fact that the lust, the devil got to me really bad. And, you know, once I was exposed to it once, it was just like, all right, I learned my lesson. I'm going to wait. You know, just it was hard. It's hard because, like my dad told me, it feel good. You know, once that feeling is there, it's hard for it to go away. It is hard for it to go away.
So just
hard.
that one.
All it takes
Hear
is
what he
one
says,
time.
everyone. One experience.
I like to chime in on it as well. One thing that Steve said that was interesting was that the fact that your dad, he wasn't saying, "Oh, good job, son, good job," you know. And I think that's something kids that don't grow up with parents that's in the church, that's something that is glorified. You know, I remember when I was young, some of the older men in my life at that time, you know, there was the questions like, "Is you getting some yet? Are you getting some yet?" And it's kind of like, oh, so it's okay, you know.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a conversation that I would sit down and have with my mom. You know, it was a conversation that I would take to, you know, my stepdad or to someone like that, because I knew that they would approve of it more than what my mom would. My mom wouldn't. She wouldn't approve of that. I think that is a very big difference that young men, I see my little guys at school, fifth graders, I mean, they're so sexually aware of things in the fifth grade. I mean, these are kids. And, you know, they act out songs with sexually explicit lyrics.
Interesting, yeah.
And because their parents approve of that. And so, you know, I mean, I think that's one thing that people need to be aware of is that sometimes the things that the kids listen to, it can strongly put an effect on how you want to act or how you want to respond, because you do want to fit in, you want to be cool.
Right.
And listening to these songs and they're saying all these things and you're kind of like, I wonder what that's like. Like you said, I mean, I'll just take it that one time. And I mean, you're exposed to so much after that. So yeah, interesting. So there's so many different things that could be influencing our teenagers to have sex, and like you said, Mr. Willis, one of the things that could be influencing them is music as well. Not just our non-Christian teens, but even our Christian teens can be influenced by those things. We have a caller on the line, Miss Sandra from Ohio. Hello?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I have a question. I was listening to, was his name Steven?
Yes, his name is Steven.
After you said that the girl was so beautiful to you, and she was your girlfriend. Now, the thing I would like to know, did you lose respect for her after having sex with her? Do you feel she's still beautiful? She's still in your life? What did this do for you after having sex with her? Did it make you feel that she's dirty now, or, you know, how do you feel about her now?
Well, I kind of don't remember her,
Wow.
but at the same time,
Wow.
I didn't lose respect for her because of the fact that it was my first time and I felt good about it, and I couldn't wait to tell my boys at the time. But now, you know, over the years, you know, if she was to ever to pop up in my mind, I did lose. Well, she has no respect now because of the fact that, she got me basically. After,
so you're angry with her now?
Well, I'm not angry with her. I was just kind of upset because of the fact that I even told her. One of the things that I told her was, I think you are too good to be. I think you were too good for us to be, doing this sexual activity. I felt like I wanted to wait because, I'm not gonna say I seen a future in her, but I told her that I wanted to wait, and I said, I think it would be beautiful that we did wait because I don't know where we are gonna go in this relationship. I don't want to say like, hey, we did it, and then we not in a relationship no more, and then I'm with another girl. Same thing gonna happen with her.
So
right. So you totally really lose respect once you get the girl and get her where you want her. You lose respect for her.
Well, I didn't get her where I wanted her. She got me.
Well, she got you.
Yeah. She the one that brought it up and talked about it. I told her from the beginning of the relationship, I'm a virgin. I wanted to stay like this.
And that's so sad nowadays. Girls are so aggressive that men used to be able to want you, but now it's the women wanting the men so bad that it's almost like they can't deal without having a man. And that is really sad in the day we're living in. I feel sorry for the women of today, the young girls of today. They feel like in order to hold a man or in order to make him like me more, I have to lay down with him. But for you to say that she is the one that pulled you in, it's really sad to me that our young girls now of today have to feel like they got to show everything that they have in order to pull a guy in. I taught my daughters respect, and they got a lot of respect from guys. It was things like, oh, you can't touch them. No. They had enough respect for those girls to say they're not going to do that. But they will go to the next girl. So it's kind of sad how our young people of today think that in order to get a guy, you have to lay. But if they will only realize back that this guy going to want them even more and more and more, just hold yourself. Yes. It's not necessary to just give it all out. Right.
Thank you so much for calling in, Miss Sandra from Cincinnati, Ohio. We appreciate those questions and that comment.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so we are going to go into another break. We're going to wrap it up. So we want you to call in at 859-655-4343. If you have some comments or some questions that you want to ask about this subject matter, empowering our youth, we're empowering them to be abstinent. Call us at 859-655-4343.
A Great Lakes radio station, AM 1320, WCVG, Covington, Cincinnati.
Cincinnati, your taste buds have been waiting for it. Delicious soul food prepared the way Sunday dinners are supposed to be. Fried chicken, tilapia, macaroni and cheese, greens, and so much more. Make your way over to DJ Southern Style Kitchen, located at 4781 Hamilton Avenue, every first and third Sunday, right after your church service. Dine in or carry out. DJ Southern Style Kitchen on the campus of Greater Bethlehem Temple Apostolic Church at the corner of Hamilton and Ash Tree. Oh, I'm getting hungry. I'll see you there.
Hello, everyone. We are back with Introspect with Nicole. I'm Dr. Kisha Willis, filling in for Miss Nicole, who will be back on next week. Our topic of the day is the power of abstinence. Why are some Christian teens abstinent while others are not? We were having a conversation about what's going on within our Christian teen community that is influencing their premarital sexual status. And now I want to talk a little bit about something that I heard about. I didn't see this television show, but I've heard a couple of people mention it, and I want to just throw it out there and see what our panelists think and even what you think. Our number here is 859-655-4343. I heard about this television show called Sisterhood, and I know some of you probably have heard about this show. It's a new show about pastors' wives. And they just started this show, I think, in January. And one of the first episodes had one of the pastors talking to his teen daughters about abstinence. However, the pastor proceeded to tell his daughters that if you decide to engage in sex, I'm going to show you. I'm going to demonstrate for you how to use a condom. He took a banana and put the condom on the banana. I want to know, what do you all think about that? Is it okay for a Christian parent, a pastor, if we can say, to introduce, contraceptives to their child, whether it's a condom or some birth control pills? What do you think about that? Is it okay?
I don't agree with that.
Okay.
I feel like if you're going to try to teach your kids to do right, you got to teach them the full thing. You can't go half in. I understand what he was trying to do, because he was like, well, I don't know what they're going to do, so I'm going to make sure they're safe anyway. But this, where I work at, I have a total of 7 women that work at my job.
Okay.
And 5 of them are pregnant, and they all have claimed to use protection. So
wow.
It shows that, like, you can try all you want.
It don't really work all that that great, does it? Sometime anyway. Wow. Interesting. So you don't agree with it? You don't agree because it's against the Bible? What's your thought?
Him being a man of God, he gotta stick to the law. Like, he gotta stick to what's right. Like, he can't compromise. Like, oh well, I'm just gonna teach him how to do it safe. Like, God didn't say be safe. He said don't do it.
Interesting. What about others? What do you think?
Yeah, I disagree as well. And the reason why I disagree is because don't show your child how to do it, because they may get in their mind that, well, since I know how to do it, nothing will happen. Maybe everything will go right. Since I know how to do it, I've been shown how to do this.
Yeah.
Then maybe everything will go as planned. Protection doesn't always work. Birth control doesn't always work.
Yeah. But some people might say, well, I already told my child not to do it. But I know teens are going to be teens. And what if they have this surge of heat that rise up in them and they say, oh, I just got to do it today? Then I want them to be safe. I mean, what if the Christian parent says that? Are they wrong? Are they wrong? Want you all tell us. 859-655-4343. What do you all think?
I mean, I would say that I believe that it's wrong, because for the simple fact that, if you're teaching your child that it's wrong in the Bible, and you're telling your child that, the Bible says that you should wait until you're married, and you're telling them all these things, but then you say on the flip side, but just in case, here, this is how you put a condom on, or you should use some birth control, or I'm going to put you on birth control. I feel like by saying that, that's like giving them the, well, if you do it, then make sure you do these things, so when they do slip up, so-called, quote unquote, they can say, well, Mom, I used the birth control, or I used the condom that you told me to. Me personally, I don't think that you should teach your child them things, because I feel like if they slip up and they, get someone pregnant, or if they have a baby, or disease or something like that, that's on them.
So they learn from their mistakes.
Yes, especially as a teen. So if it happens, then, if you're a boy that's playing sports and you're doing all these things, then I guess you will have to get a job. It's no more basketball. It's no more football. And that's that's something that Christian saved parents should really sit down and think about. Is I'm gonna teach my child about, talk to them about sex. I'm gonna let them know that it's wrong. The Bible tells us that it's wrong, and give them scripture, give them word that they can apply to it. So that it will help them in life. But on the flip side, I'm not going to show them how to do all these things, even though they will probably see them on TV or learn them from friends in school. But I'm not going to actually show them how to do these things. I'm going to make them aware of them, and I'm going to let them know how it's wrong. But I don't think you should actually show, especially as a Christian saved parent.
I would think that's kind of contradictory, right? I mean,
yes, very,
isn't that contradictory
very.
to what actually is written in the Bible? That if the Bible say you're not supposed to commit fornication, but then yet and still I say, but just in case you commit it, then I'm going to give you something to protect yourself. But then the other side of the coin is, I have to play both sides right now. The other side of the coin is, if I do not help to protect them, am I not being a good parent? Am I shielding them, or am I taking something away that I should be keeping on the table?
Well, I think it has a lot to do with what that Christian beliefs is, what their beliefs are. Maybe they have a different belief on things regarding abstinence.
Okay.
I think because there's the Bible, some Bibles, there's so many different Bibles out there that has been tweaked.
You're talking about Christian Bibles.
Christian Bibles.
Interesting.
They may believe that, hey, it's right to have sex. There's Christians out there that believe that they can do so many things that in the Bible that says you can't do.
Wow.
So that's how I look at it.
That's interesting.
That's a different way I look at it.
We're going to go to a caller, a Kevin from Cincinnati. Kevin, are you on?
Yes. Hi, Dr. Willis.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well.
Good.
This is a very interesting conversation you all are having.
Thank you.
So I just want to pose a question. So I have teenagers.
Okay.
And if my teenagers come to me and say, "Hey, I'm ready to have sex," and I'm a believer, so then what I hear your guest as well as yourself saying is, should we provide them with opportunities to have protection?
Yeah, that's the question.
So it's a very tricky situation, because if we say no, they end up with children and they're living in our house.
Absolutely.
Then we take on that responsibility with them.
Right.
But if we say yes, but we're not condoning it, is there a conflict there?
But how do you not condone it? By saying, yes, I'm going to provide you protection. Isn't that a form of condoning actually having sex, premarital sex?
No, I think,
No. Okay.
Well, personally, I think I would not do, like the TV show you said, actually showing them how to do it. And no, but if my sons come to me and say, yes, I'm ready to have sex, I will tell them, no, you should not.
Right.
We put it in you, you shouldn't. And they say, well, I'm going to do it anyway. I mean, no parent is going to follow their children 24 hours a day.
Absolutely.
So, the question in parents' mind is, what do we do? Do we just say, okay, well, you do what you want to do, or do we tell them, hey, I don't condone it, but if you do it, you need to protect yourself?
That's a good question.
So
I would say, Mr. Kevin, I will say that that it becomes the issue of if your child is telling you, well, I'm gonna do it anyways, where is the respect? If your child say, well, I'm gonna do it anyways, it's kind of like, I mean, if I would have went to my mom and said, Mom, I'm ready to have sex, and she said no, and I said, well, I'm gonna do it anyways, it'd have been some serious consequences coming from that. I mean, it's I think that we have gotten to a day and age to where we kind of got away from I don't want to say the fear of our parents, but away from respecting our parents to a level to, like Miss Nikkei said, she don't want to hurt her parents. She don't want to see her parents go through that. And you know, I'm sure you wouldn't have never intentionally did anything to hurt your mom or your dad growing up as a kid. So I think that it's, you know, it's if they're being raised up right and they're being showed, you know, that this is the way you should be and this is the way, you know, things are done. I think if they come to you and you sit and you talk to them, you know, man to man or woman to woman or man to daughter, or however, I think that they will respect the fact that you don't want them to do that, and let them know that if it happens and you end up with these consequences, you know, your life as a teen might end. Yes, I'm gonna be there to help you and I'm gonna be there to support. Even though this child is in my household, but your life as a teen will end. It's no more, you know, basketball practices, going here, going there. All that's over. So if that's what you want to put at risk, then that's on you. But once you're 18, if you're not, you know, you're going to have to find your own place to go so you can go and be an adult, since you want to do an adult things and raise your child. And that's just me personally.
Yeah. So so as I'm hearing you, and I agree what you're saying, you know, and my mom, she raised me in the church, and, you know, she told me, no sex, no, you shouldn't do this, you know, and she told me, no, I shouldn't do other things, and I respected my mom, I still respect her, but as a teenager, I made a lot of my own, I made my choices and decisions that she didn't know I did some things until I became an adult when I shared it with her. So, you know, so that is the, you know, for me, it's a fine line. Not saying, you know, if my son came to me and told me, hey, I'm ready to have sex, and I say, no, don't do it. The fact that they've come to me and told me, you know, opens the door to have conversations with them, continual conversations. The fact that they've said it, you know, I don't think as a parent, as a Christian parent, I should turn a blind eye and just say, no, don't do it. And say, you know, here are the consequences. Yes, there are going to be consequences, but if we don't, you know, tell them, in my opinion, if I don't say, you know what, I know you want to do it, you know, I don't agree with it, but if you do it, you know, you need to make sure that you protect yourself. I'm not condoning it, but for me not to say anything, and, you know, there will be consequences if they have a child. So
and I agree with that. Definitely educate them.
Absolutely, and that's a tough one, because the teen years. And thank you so much for your call, Kevin from Cincinnati. We really appreciate all those comments. It was really good. I think the teen years are a very difficult time, because that is when your brain is doing a whole lot of developing, and there's so much that's coming to the surface, and you want so badly to do things that maybe you weren't doing previously before. We are going to go to our next caller after the break. We are talking about empowerment, the power of abstinence. We'll reach you right after the break.
Introspect with Nicole is bringing our show closer to you. Do you have an inspiring story that you want to share? Or have you lost a loved one to a private demon such as alcoholism, drug abuse, domestic violence, or even the growing unrest of gun violence? If so, we want to hear your story. Visit us at www.introspectnicole.com.
Welcome back to Introspect with Nicole. I'm Dr. Kisha Willis, filling in for Miss Nicole, who will return on next week. We're having a very interesting conversation about the power of abstinence, why some Christian teens decide to have sex and others decide to wait. We have a Miss Linda from Cincinnati, Ohio on the phone. and we want to welcome her to the show. Welcome, Miss Linda.
Hi, how are you today?
We are great. How are you?
Wonderful. I'm calling in regards, I heard you say absent from sex and whether or not you should talk to your child and let them know if they want to have sex, that it's okay or it's not okay. Personally, myself, either you're going to stand firm, or if you're going to stand for something, you're going to stand for something, or you're not going to stand for it at all. Okay. No is no. If they're going to do it out there, I'm sure they have enough sense. There's enough material out there for them to go and read and research for their own self. I'm not going to say, yes, you're going to have sex. Yeah, it's okay, but go ahead on and protect yourself. No. No.
Okay.
Don't have sex. Take them to the Word. Show them the consequences. There's a consequences for everything you do in life.
Absolutely.
Whatever you do in life, there's a consequence.
Always.
If you tell them, okay, sure, it's okay, and they're young, the partner may not know how to use the protection correctly. And if you don't know how to use the protection correctly, you still can have a baby. You still can have a child. Not only that, there's diseases out there that they don't even have a cure for. They have herpes simplex out there. They have all kind of and this is a disease that once you get it, there's no cure, just like AIDS.
Yes.
So,
no cure.
And once you get that you have it. There's no cure. I mean,
and you don't always know.
Mama, daddy. No. I mean,
and you don't always know who has what, right? I mean, you cannot identify if someone has HIV
you
or
can't.
herpes
You can't
just by
tell.
looking at them. Absolutely.
You cannot.
So you could think you're safe. Like, I've known this person for years, but
exactly.
Yeah.
And all it takes is one time to mess your life up forever.
Yeah.
Why take the chance for a 1 second thrill? Why? It's not worth it. Save yourself for your husband. Save yourself for your wife. It's not worth it.
Thank you so much, Ms. Linda, for calling in. We appreciate those very good comments. We want to talk a little bit again to our panel. I would like for some of our panel members to just tell us about, as we approach the end of our show, I want to talk a little bit about what they have done to protect themselves. What can you share with other teenagers out there? How have you protected yourself from going forth and engaging in premarital sex, considering we live in an age where it's so common and it's so easy to get into a relationship where the person wants you to have sex, as Mr. Stephen had already told us about. It's very easy to get drawn into it. How have you protected yourself? How have you kept yourself from going forth with it?
Personally, me, I do not give in to peer pressure.
You don't give in to peer pressure. How do you stop yourself from giving in?
If I don't think something's right, I'm not going to do it. If I don't like it, I won't do it. That's just how I am. Like, if I don't personally think something is going to be a good outcome for me, I'm not going to do it. I'm not afraid to say no to sex. Okay. It never will be. That's just how I am.
And so would you say a part of it is because of your personality? You just have a strong personality?
Yes, I believe so. And back to what I was saying earlier, I just do not want to disappoint my parents. Like,
go back to the parent thing.
Yes.
What about those teenagers who have very meek personalities? They're kind of quiet, soft-spoken, easygoing. They're not as strong. They don't have the strength to stand against people who are pressuring them. What about them?
It has a lot to do with self-esteem.
Yeah.
Is that self-esteem or is that temperament? Is that just who they are as a person?
I think it's self-esteem. Because a lot of my female friends have shared experiences with me. And one thing that they have said was, I had low self-esteem. And because maybe they didn't look a certain way, maybe something was wrong with them. And that's why they were pressured into doing it.
Wow.
And sometimes, and I would tell them, like, you shouldn't have, low self-esteem. You just got to have that respect for yourself. Doesn't matter what is wrong with you. Just know that one thing that I say to people is that there's always someone for someone. Certain guys have the attitude of, I'm just going to get in her pants and go.
Okay.
and then there's some guys that have the mindset of, I don't want this girl for the night, but I want this girl for the rest of my life.
Okay.
And a lot of females say to me, there's not a lot of guys out there like that. But to me, I think that some females are just so picky. Girls want what they say, but then when they get it, they mess it up for themselves.
Because of self-esteem.
And because of, being insecure, not being able to trust.
Okay. So I want to know, a male, how can a male teen, I mean, it sounds like there's so much pressure out here for males to become sexually active very early, but how can a Christian male, with all the pressures that he's dealing with, how can he keep himself? What are some things that he can do?
It's most definitely a lot of peer pressure for boys nowadays,
Yeah.
because like that's what boys are quote unquote supposed to be
to do. Absolutely, I've heard that.
So the way
soil their royal oats, yeah.
The way I kept my self out of that was like the people I surround myself with. I kept it real with them. Like I told them, like, this is what I want. I'm a virgin. That's what I'm gonna do. Like if you don't go out there acting like, oh yeah, this and that. Like if you go out there and just keep it real, let them know who you really are. They're gonna respect you. Like well, he keeping it real with us. What he want to do. It's not that he can't. It's that he don't want to. So if you keep it like that, then
so keeping it real with the people around you,
right? Like like let them know, like let it be known, like don't be afraid to tell them what your morals is and how you feel about it. Like if they know, like they gonna respect you. Like my best friends will tease me like every now and then, but they know like and I know like it's just a joke. Like it's fun. Like they be like, and then they come to me later like, I wish I would have did this, or I wish I wouldn't have done that, and then they look to you like that.
Have you ever had people to say, okay, well, yeah, I know, Josh, I know this is how you feel, but man, it's cool. You should just try it. Have you ever felt those pressures from people and even had the thought of, well, maybe I should? Oh, well, no, I'm not going to do it.
Well, I felt those pressures when I was insecure about it. But once you start like when you know that's what you really want to do, like I don't have a problem with it. Like my friends, they don't like oh yeah, they know, and they'll be like, well, this and that, but they still respect. They come like, yeah, I know what you're trying to do. You cool, like we like it.
So after a while, they leave you alone.
That and the fact that they know, like you tease somebody to get to them. If you're not getting to them, then
interesting.
But sometimes the people that tease you be like, man, I wish I was like you.
Right. So they're teasing you, but maybe they're just jealous about what you've been able to do.
Exactly.
I've never met one person that came to me and told me that I was stupid for what I was doing. Like everybody either said like they regret that I wish I was like you, or like I have never met one person that told me like, oh, you stupid.
Yeah, very interesting.
Hold on to it, man. It's worth it. It's worth it, man.
Yeah, and it sounds like you regretted it big time, Stephen.
Oh,
you wish you would have.
Because I used to brag about it all the time to my mom. Like, Mom, I'm going to stay a virgin for real. And I heard her. You know, and I was deeply sorry. So
Wow. We are having a very deep and interesting conversation about the power of abstinence. We're going on our last commercial break. Come back with us to end the show. Thank you.
Introspect with Nicole thanks WCVG AM 1320 for allowing us to bring this show to you.
We are back with Introspect with Nicole. I am Dr. Kisha Willis, filling in as your gracious host. Miss Nicole will be back on the air on next week. We are talking about the power of abstinence, and I have some very fine guests here in for their final thoughts. And I think we're going to start with Mr. Willis.
I would like to just put out there, and let teens know that it is something that you should talk to your parents about. Don't be afraid and don't be scared to go to your parents and talk to your parents about these things that you're feeling, because it's normal. It's a normal feeling. one thing that is important is communication. Communication is a very important thing, and especially in the home.
Yeah.
I think that teens often is afraid to talk to their parents about this type of thing, so they go to their friends or they go to someone else to talk to them about them, and their friends is the worst people to get advice from. Because they're going to tell them something probably that they read or they seen on TV or some reality show, or even something that they heard in a song, to try to encourage them. You see a lot of teens, they listen to these songs and they get emotional. So I would say definitely talk to your parents, a pastor, or somebody that's in some type of leadership when you're having these feelings, because maybe they can give you a word of encouragement.
Yes.
And remember this one thing, that once you lose it, you can't get it back.
That's it.
And that's something precious. This should be something that you will want to hold on to, just to spend with a special person. And I'm like Stephen, I will say myself, it's something that I wish that I could have done differently. So, remember, you can't get it back. So I'm just going to allow young Josh to say something.
Yes.
I would just like to add, for the parents, just instruct your kids the way they should go, and then trust that you instructing them right. And then for the young adults out there, just if you are abstinent, stay strong in it. Let it be known. Like, don't be ashamed of it.
Yes.
It's like if you ashamed of, you 9 times out of 10 gonna eventually give into it. So if you proud of what you do, then, or proud of what you don't do, then just continue to be that way. And then for the people that have been sexually active, it's not too late to practice abstinence.
Absolutely.
It's be the best way to go.
Absolutely. Wow. Great comments.
I both agree with Chris and Josh. Just for the people that already lost it, it's not too late to practice it at all.
Yeah.
And for the people that are still abstinent, stay abstinent. It's not worth it, not worth losing it, especially at a young age. Anybody can always build up their self-esteem, especially the females out there that have low self-esteem. Never, ever let a boy talk to you into doing it when you're not comfortable with it. So just stay strong and do what's right for you.
Yes, thank you.
All I can say is don't let self-esteem, mess it up for you. Just pray. Talk to God about it. That's one thing. God will bless your relationship. Just practice it. It's the best thing to do. It'll feel so much better if you wait till you get married.
And you're speaking from experience.
From experience.
Absolutely.
I'm not gonna be able to feel what the virgins can feel. But just pray about it. Take it to God.
Yes.
God will bless your relationship.
That's right. That's right. I thank all of my guests for coming on the show on today. It has been so wonderful talking with you about this subject matter. There could be numerous reasons as to why Christian teens opt to engage in premarital sex. It could be due to a lack of acceptance from significant others, fear of rejection from peers, or possibly even low self-worth. Regardless of why some Christian teens decide to go against the Bible and engage in premarital sex, it could simply just be a cry for help. At the core, most who engage in sexual interactions long for a deeper sense of intimacy. So when a Christian teen decides to do something that obviously negates his religious standards, he clearly sends the message of the need for intervention. This intervention may be in the form of a listening ear, a kind shoulder to lean on, a warm hug of care, or just a silent prayer. Whatever the intervention, know that as a parent, a sibling, a pastor, a loved one, or a friend, it is up to us to be a beacon of light in a situation that may seem so dim. Thank you all for listening to Introspect with Nicole. I'm Dr. Kisha Willis, sitting in for Miss Nicole, who will return on next week. I love you, and God bless you all.
Hey, this is Nicole, and thanks for listening. Listen, I want to hear from you, so come visit me at www.introspectnicole.com. And be sure to tune in every